Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going? This is Enrique, and this is Critique Corner, another episode of this. And this is basically a segment where I go and I critique any drawings that you guys send in. I don't know everything. I'm still on my own artistic journey, but I'll just try to give you as good feedback as I can from where I am. And, it's always good to get a fresh opinion on something. If you want to send something in be critiqued, in this segment, you can send it in to OmegaMan20 at gmail.com. I wrote it right here. I'm also going to put it in the description below, so check that out if you don't want to come back to this little part of the video. Today's picture is brought to you by, I believe it's Sniper of Onage. I believe you're 13 and you're from Norway. Pretty cool. Awesome. Anyways, remember this. OMEGAMAN20 at gmail.com. I do this segment every Sunday, so I'll talk to you guys about that later on. Okay, so let's get into it. Also, these are also my first impressions as well. This is my first impression of this, this piece, and that's also I'm also gonna correct it, or make opinions on it digitally. You know what I mean? I'm gonna auto-tone that to kind of fix the lighting because it was from a photo. That's irrelevant. So I'm gonna give you my first impressions of this. Really good. It's pretty solid. It's definitely a skull. Top portion of a skull. I'm not sure if it's done from life because it almost looks like he drew it from life, which is pretty neat. I don't think there's anything wrong with this structurally. Actually, when I'm looking at this, everything structurally is pretty good. I think and it's not exactly symmetrical, but I know you're dealing with organics. You sometimes doesn't need to be totally symmetrical. I mean, obviously we're trying to do it as well as we can. There's like a little nick over here, maybe shorten that if you can see that shape, But I've drawn skulls from life before, and they're not always symmetrical, you know. Or from a photo, they're not really symmetrical at all. And I drew over the drawing on accident. I should have drawn that in another layer. All right, good. I got that all off. So structurally, it's fine. I'm just gonna talk about the shading, and I guess it's more of a pencil shading tool, which is gonna be kind of hard to describe in digital, but I'm gonna try. Normally, when you're dealing with the light source coming from, I would say, this side, but also from the front. You know what I'm saying? So light's gonna be hitting here, and it's gonna kind of cast down. You should have put a cast shadow back here. That would have been kind of cool. If it's on the floor, Um, but I'm going to talk about pencil techniques, and I'm not using pencils, so I'll try to make that come across. There is, and I've said this in other videos, and I'll go over it here. You got to remember there's a direct light source hitting the front of this area, and when you got all this light, usually coming from a single light source. And it's going to be, let's say it's all coming from that direction-ish. This stuff's going to hit the ground around it. And because it's hitting the ground, it's going to bounce back up. It's going to bounce back up from the ground back into the skull. You know what I mean? It's just the way it happens. So you have kind of like two light sources, even if you have one. You have the big, heaviest light source coming from above, usually. And in this case, from above. And then you have secondary, which is a reflected light, which bounces off the ground. And that's not going to be as strong. You know what I'm saying? So, because of that, you're going to have a light, dark, light. And it's weird because of that, it kind of forms this almost band of black, as you can see right here. You know what I mean? Which you did well. And that band of black is called a core shadow. It's a stylistic thing. A lot of people did it at my school. I think it's very, good. It's a very good. It's very stylistic, and it's very nice. I like what you're doing here. Honestly, I don't really have a huge issue with it. I think maybe gradate this more. I know there's like a plane of the skull over here, kind of, I'm assuming. I would say gradate this a little more. See how it's stopping? If I squint my eyes, it's starting to kind of form too much of a line right here. I would just say try to that's more of a pencil and time thing. Just kind of smooth it out, transition it better, from this dark to the light. I think there could be a smoother transition there. Um, I would say watch out because you're also kind of going back between line and form. When you're doing form would be kind of this shadow type drawing, and then you got this line which is like line art. This looks like it's a little bit too line arty for me. This right here on this side, so you can look at that. Looks a little bit too much. Looks a little too liney. 1 second. So what I would do for that is I would literally, and even if it's not in the drawing, I would lighten this line up right here. I would totally lighten it up. Or what I would do is I would darken this shape on this side. You know, Obviously I'm doing it with digital and it's way too dark, but you know what I'm saying? In that area, I would slightly darken it up and then make it so when the dark pushes up against this line right here, it'll kind of form one and it'll kind of make the line disappear because you're putting a dark next to the line. God, I hope that makes sense. It's a little bit hard to talk about that in digital. And other than that, I would just straighten out. I mean, this is just pencil stuff. I would straighten out that edge over here. Maybe just kind of erase that. You're kind of balancing out your straights and then your kind of your soft edges and your hard. You know. By that I mean this would be like a hard edge right there. See where it kind of ends, and then soft would be like maybe like this core shadow. It's a little bit transitioning, or soft would really be over here where it's transitioning. This would be more of a firm. Um, if you guys have any remarks too, please make them. By the way, anybody in the comments, if you guys have any suggestions on what you can do, let me know. This is kind of a group thing. I've been doing that lately. I like getting feedback from people in the comments. So, but that is my feedback. So just to recap, I would say just kind of clean this up over here. That's my line. Let me see that. I would say, oopsie daisy. I would say clean up this area over here. Just kind of make it a little bit sharper. Smoother transition in here. Make it a little bit smoother. Like grade it a little bit more gradually, so it'll look more round. Especially this right here. Definitely, smooth that out. And then I would say darken this area up over here a little bit, just to kind of make that line disappear. You know what I'm saying? You can do it all along the edge too. If anybody else has any other feedback, like I said before, please, I'd love to hear about it. Post in the comments below. That's about it, man. Great job. Really awesome, though. You're 13, dude. That's crazy. That's amazing. I'm really, really impressed. All right. I'll see you guys in the next episode.